Namaste. I'm back for the second part of part 6, so 6B, on key advice on how to master meditation. Again, I'm Ram. If you're just watching this video, I'm known as the DNA Hacker. I created the DNA Hacker Secrets program, and you can check more about that in the link below. Book a coaching session, free, no selling, just to serve you. And this is part of a multi-program series, so if you've not watched parts 1 through 6A, highly suggest you go back and watch them in order. It's really going to help you understand why you should meditate and how you can become a master of it, and when are the ideal times to do this. I've gone into details about that and how to energize and bring balance so that you can overcome the obstacles that limit or prevent you from doing this practice. And so in this part, we're gonna finish off some key advice, and then in part 7, I'm going to share, as a bee's hovering over the camera here, enjoying the scenery here. And so I'm going to share some techniques, how to intensify, amplify your concentration in your meditation. So you can not hold it for a few seconds and then you get distracted by this or that thought, so that you can start extending the amount of time that you spend concentrating on something. Because for a novice, not an adept, to be able to get to a deeper state of meditation, you need probably at least around 5 minutes holding that focal point, which will be talking about what are some of these focal points today. I'll introduce that, but in the next video I'll give you some more clear guidelines, and I'll even do a guided meditation. Some of the meditation I cannot do guided because I don't know your limits, and so some of them involve with your eyes open and letting the eyes tear, etc. And so it may be challenging. I may be holding it longer than you're comfortable with. But I'll explain how to do it, and then you can go ahead and try it at home. Okay, so the object when you're trying to begin to meditate is to keep your mind free from all intruding thoughts. Why is that? Because the intruding thoughts are distracting you away from what you're trying to concentrate on. I've talked about before that the real goal when you're talking about from yoga, meditation is meditation on God. Not the God that you think it is, it's something else. It's really realizing it yourself directly, without any beliefs, without any intermediaries, without not rationalizing it, no need for signs, anything like that. You directly experience what that is. And in the book Voyage from Human to God, that you can sign up below to be part of the book launch and get an advanced reader copy, I go into more details as to that voyage and how does that happen. Of course, being free from intruding thoughts cannot be easy. That's why I put yeah right. Somebody be like, yeah right, that's easier said than done. I sit there, my mind goes everywhere, I'm restless, I can't sit still, I don't know how to relax. That's why often I work with people before I teach them meditation. I work with them so that they can actually overcome some of those other limitations. How to overcome some of the mental and physical obstacles that actually prevent them from being successful in meditation. That is why meditation is one of the higher limbs, is the second to last one, because it's like going up rungs of a ladder. You have to get to a certain point before you're ready for meditation. But of course, even if you're a novice, you can start to begin to practice. And of course, one of the things I emphasized in the previous video is consistency, perseverance. You just can't say, oh, that's it, it's too difficult, I'm not gonna do it. I remember, and I've told this to clients, that when I started my practice many years ago, 10 minutes would seem so laborious. It would seem like an hour. But with practice, now an hour seemed like 10 minutes. I wanted more. I wanted to be meditating for 3-4 hours if I could. Not the other way around, where 3 or 4 hours would have been like, oh, that's crazy, I'm never doing that. 20 minutes was a grind. So wherever you find yourself, know that it can become a joy. And there's a number of benefits that I've talked about in other videos and in my programs and live events that you gain from this practice. I'll try to remember to put a link in this video to a previous video I did on traits of successful individuals and how meditation can help, and you can see some of the benefits of that. All right, so it's fine if you keep getting intruding thoughts. So whenever, if you, like say we do a guided meditation next time and you get some thoughts, I constantly interject every so often. If your mind gets distracted, bring it back to whatever you're concentrating on. If it's an asana practice, yoga posture, at the end I usually finish with relaxation, sometimes with yoga nidra, some guided relaxation of sorts. And while you're attending to a body part that you're trying to relax, you may get distracted. The instructor should guide you back to that body part by giving you cues. You can do that yourself without having some external cue. You can get yourself, reel yourself back in. So bring your mind back to your center of concentration and make sure it's gently, without judgments. Don't criticize yourself. Don't get frustrated. Don't think, I'm not good at this. I'm never going to be good at it. Don't let that negative jargon get in there. Start to break free from that and substitute it with positive mental affirmations that are not going to be an obstacle and are going to increase the quality of your life. So as you keep doing this, as you keep bringing your center of concentration back, or your focal point, whatever that may be, and we're going to go into details about that a little bit today, but in the next video I'll go more details about that. The breath is going to gradually calm, but of course if you did some of the things that I described in previous videos, then your breath should already be calm. Your mind should be in a more quiet state, so that when you actually sit down and practice, the intruding thoughts are lessened. They're going to be less of an obstacle. You're not going to be inert, lethargic, sleepy, or at the other end, anxious, stressed, agitated, restless. You're going to be more at that kind of sattvic, harmony, balanced state that is going to be more conducive to the practice. Of course, that sattvic state, as I mentioned in the previous video in 6.8, it's going to be also reinforced by having excellent health. And of course, the core of what I teach is how to live 100% stress and disease-free, so that your mental and physical health are not obstacles. All right. So another thing that's important is, don't try to, a lot of people are like trying to push away thoughts. As you're trying to push them off, it just starts to build more pressure. They're just going to come back at you with more force. Just don't try to drive them out, or allow them to take you over. Don't push them away, but don't get sucked in and get yourself taken away by the wave of thoughts. And all of a sudden, minutes go by, 10 minutes go by, and all of a sudden you find yourself daydreaming, and you've not been on your focal point. Coax your mind back to your center of concentration gently. If it's too much, let them play out. Don't give them direction. Just remain detached. If you remain detached, you don't let them take you away. Remain detached and observe them, so that you can start to gain an understanding of what the mind is and how it can become an asset. The problem is that our mind is like a leg that we can't control, that sometimes kicks and we don't have control over. Just imagine if you had a body part that's doing something that you don't have control over. That can get very problematic. So the mind, we want to make it an asset, because it will allow us then to go deeper and deeper in our meditation, and now it becomes an ally, and then eventually you transcend the mind, and you can now experience yourself exactly as you are. You can experience your true self, or God. So to begin, you have a point of focus. That point of focus can be a variety of things. I'll give some examples in the next lecture, but this could be an object, let's say a candle outside, a couple of feet away, and you're gazing at that candle intently, and there's an exercise I'll describe in the next video that you can do. It could be an image, could be an image of a gurudev, a guru, a master, a teacher, somebody that inspires you. If you are religious, it could be an image of Buddha or Jesus that you're observing. And I'll describe another meditation in the next video, or I may break it into parts, we'll see, where you can actually meditate with that image, but held internally. So you're not observing something outside of you, but you're holding it within yourself, in your heart center, for example. And you're nurturing, trying to keep your attention on the image of Buddha or Muhammad or Jesus or whatever it may be, or an enlightened person that you admire, you respect, a spiritual entity, and you're holding it in your heart center and you're illuminating it. This is a gross form of meditation. Anything that is involving some sort of image you're trying to create, that's going to be more gross. It's going to be easier, however, and of course in yoga, you start, one of the lower limbs is the asana limb, the limb of the body postures, and that is because that is easier. We're familiar and comfortable with the gross forms, matter, and we're comfortable with body consciousness, so it's easy to have an image and try to concentrate on it. Something more subtle would be focusing, let's say, on the breath or a mantra. And a mantra can be very powerful, and I'll explain later on down here how that mantra, when you're concentrating on it, all of a sudden you're not having to forcibly repeat the mantra. And of course, you are concentrating because you're not thinking of this or that thought, you're just concentrating on the mantra. So it's another form of concentration, whether I'm concentrating on the breath, on my nostrils, let's say on the bridge of my nose here, near my upper lip, whether I'm focused on my heart center or the space in between my eyebrows, there is a focal point, something I'm concentrating on. The mantra eventually starts to run on its own. And you don't have to kind of force it, just it's operating there. And even if you were to do it at night, which in the previous video I suggested sometimes to do this, let's say if you do right before bed, then when you go to sleep, that mantra is operating in the background. And you may even find yourself waking up with the mantra running already, thinking about it. Happens to me sometimes it happens to me very often where I wake up with a music, a song in my head when I wake up. It's happened to me a lot. And it's maybe a song that I haven't heard in a long time. It's going to be similar to that. You wake up and you just have this mantra kind of permeating. And if you nurture these practices or these mantras, they can run even throughout the day and help anchor your practice throughout the day when you're at work, let's say, so that you're not just practicing in the morning or in the evening, but it helps carry you through that period. And of course, and this is a subtle form of meditation. It's not really something that you're seeing, let's say, or hearing or something of that sort. It's more internal, it's more subtle, it's more mental, or astral. And then it could be a light. In this case, this luminous version of the point of focus would be a internal light. Like you close your eyes and you can visualize a light. We're going to do an exercise that's going to allow you to visualize that light with a candle. So when you stare at it, and then after a while you close your eyes, you will see the candle in your mind's eye. And so there you will be able to try to hold that light as long as you can. The same thing can happen abstractly. If you do practice this over time, you won't need an external source to generate the image of the light. You'll be able to do it without it. You can immediately close your eyes, and after a little while of concentrating, you'll be able to see the light. Whether it doesn't matter the size of it, but you're trying to maintain it in your center point of focus and not allow yourself to drift, like I explained in video 1 of this series. All right. So we talked about some earlier limbs, pratyahara, which is withdrawal of the senses, and dharana, which is concentration. both of these are designed to help you rise above body consciousness. So they're teaching you how you can withdraw the energy and the consciousness from the body and the world of the senses and the outside world, and withdraw it inwards, so that now you can hold it and concentrate and elevate until eventually you start to experience higher states of consciousness. And eventually you reach the summit, where you reach samadhi, and you get to this point of silence, of quietude, of emptiness, where you cross this void and you're able to experience yourself exactly as you are. And the power of that experience cannot really be described with words. It must be experienced directly. It is a beautiful experience that I wish I could give to everyone. Once you experience it, you start to realize your own infinite potential and creativity and the power that you have, and you'll learn over time, and I teach students and clients how to do this, how to then draw that into the body and then share it with others and with the world. And of course, dhyana will help you rise not above body consciousness, but above the mind, to go beyond the mind. Because the mind, even though it's a tool, just like the body is a great tool, both the body and the mind are obstacles for you to realize who you really are. They, along the evolutionary voyage, they brought you this far. But now you must discard them like old clothing, so that then you can actually experience yourself as you are, and you can reach the summit that I describe in Voyage from Human to God as being the beginning of living, of real living. Not infantile, ignorant, lost living, full of pain and suffering, of highs and lows, the dualities of life, but free from all those entanglements, free from the cycle of birth and death of samsara, and you can now experience what real living is. It's a beautiful experience, and I wish that upon anybody. All right. Gradually, as you intensify and focus your concentration, you start to absorb the mind in a sense. And you're going to start to lose attachment to things that you're currently attached to, whether it's money, fame, power, false vanity, etc. These things will have less power and grip over you. The external world will have less power and grip over you. Is one of the keys to actually living 100% stress-free, is not letting the outside world have so much of a grip and power over your own stability. When you master this skill, then you will actually become free of a lot of problems and obstacles that people suffer, that we think of as being normal. And of course, you begin to delight in not doing, because we're constantly doing stuff, but just being and experiencing yourself as you really are. And of course, I mentioned this earlier, you will then be absorbed in this glorious creativity and infinite potential. You will realize how you are the source of everything around you. Everything that you experience, everything that you are, have been, and will be. You have always been, and you will always be. And you need only realize it in the now, in the present. Realize your immortality in the present, true immortality. And all of these things will unfold, and powers will come, and health will be transformed, etc. And your passion will grow. And you'll start to feel what it was like to be free and joyous and full of passion, like you were like many are when they were children. And last thing I want to mention is 3 factors in meditation. There's the meditator. That one is pretty straightforward. The process of meditation. The process that you're undergoing to be able to focus on certain object, or your focus of concentration or meditation. As you practice, the mind will become permeated with whatever is your object of meditation. Ideally, again, this is a higher form of meditation, it should be on God. And eventually you become permeated with God-like experience, for a lack of better description. you get permeated with being a God. And you experience directly what that means. It is not something separate from you. It is something that is not, I don't want to say you may think that is what you see in the mirror, the ego, etc. It is something much more. It's what unites us all and what gives rise to this world of form. And so you will become permeated with whatever is that your object of concentration is. In a sense, everything else should vanish. The only thing that should exist is whatever you're concentrating on. And this process of meditation will gradually be eliminated with practice. It kind of becomes automated, and you lose sense of need to think about the process. How do you go from here to there? You just go there. And it becomes easier. Like I mentioned, you may need to build up to 5 minutes to be able to get into a deep state of meditation, but an adept could do that even within seconds. There are yogis that, of course, some may be more out of practice, more in practice, but some yogis could do it within a minute. They could be in samadhi, a very deep state of meditation. And the object or focus of meditation will become increasingly automatic and until it disappears. And in a sense, you lose separateness. You achieve oneness with whatever it is that you're meditating on. This is actually how you can, just to give you an example, if I meditate on an animal, animals have important attributes. They have very powerful attributes. If I meditate intently and I go through this process and I become one with the animal that I'm meditating, I acquire the powers that animal possesses, whether it's strength, whether it's vision, agility, etc. And this is something that may seem foreign to you, but it's a reality that you can experience directly. If I meditate on the sun, for example, I can gain insights into the creation, how this solar system was given rise to. I could do this with another person. I do this therapeutically when I'm working with clients. I concentrate intently on them, and I and the client become one. Their consciousness and my consciousness, there's no distinction. And I can experience their fears, their struggles as my own. And I can understand them and then help them in turn better, because I am now one with them. I am not some separate person that read some books, that has some medications to give them. I am them, and I'm an enlightened, you could say, in a sense, I am allowing an enlightened version of themselves to take hold so that they can experience transformation and healing. So this process is very intricate, and we could spend a long time on this. It's just a little introduction. If you want to learn more about the limbs of yoga and about deepening your practice, how to go from being a human to a God, there's no better book than Voyage from Human to God, which will be available in stores very soon. And I would say digitally at the end of this year, sometime next year. And I'm looking for people to join the book launch team. And if you want more details, comment below. Reach me on social media at Ramaswitatree. Okay, I will hopefully I remember to post the video over here and on how traits of successful entrepreneurs and how meditation can help. Okay, I hope this served you well. Be in the lookout for part 7. I'll be giving some tips on how to intensify, amplify your concentration and your meditation, and give you some techniques that you can try at home. Okay? Have a beautiful day. Namaste.